Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Game Breaker Nation Elder Scrolls Online Launch Show. I am your host, Zista. With me, I have Angwar,
What's up?
Swift, and Spirit slept in, so we left him with that.
Yep. He's being represented in spirit.
Yeah, we couldn't, like, that's like when somebody falls asleep at a party and you don't draw on their face with magic marker. Like, something's wrong with you. So
Yeah.
we had to do it. Like it had to be done. Plus the frame's already made. We had to fill the spot. So that's that.
Sorry.
Yeah. So if you guys have not heard of us, we are the Game Breaker Nation. We are affiliated with Game Breaker TV, which hosts some of the shows you guys come to know and love, such as Legendary, Twemo. Formerly After Dark. They don't do that anymore. I don't know. There's a bunch of shows they got. Free to play TV. They do all different shows like that. So these guys here are officers for the upcoming game for the launch. Angwar is officer counsel for NA, as is Swift, and Spirix, who is not here, is representing the EU by being the only one where it's a reasonable time for him to be awake, and he's not.
I know.
We're here
Right?
at 4 in the morning. He's still sleeping. So, yeah, so how are you guys doing tonight?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. I'm actually
Awake?
wide awake. Yeah, I'm not even tired at all. Haven't had any energy
Pumped.
drinks. I'm good. So what have your guys' opinions been on ESO over the past 6 months? Well, actually, hold on. Let me just start out by saying I want to let the chat room know I have not played Elder Scrolls Online. I'm in the dark here, so I'm like much of you guys watching who may have questions about it, looking to try to find out what it is. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to ask the experts here. So
Experts.
yes, so. I'm trying to find out as much about this game as you guys are. So, I'm sure many people watching it have played in beta, have been in for a while. You guys have been in for at least 6 months, right? The beta was 6 months ago. You guys have been in for what, about 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, I've been
Give
in
or take.
since November.
I got in weekend betas in August.
I've
Oh,
been on
wow.
Yes, which is the permanent. Up
Wow.
24/7.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
I've been playing it nonstop since November.
So, what were you guys' impressions initially? Swift, you said you were in August,
Yeah.
and I heard it was a pretty rough game back then.
It wasn't good. I mean, it obviously it was something that, it was early beta, so you kind of gave it a little bit of leeway, but I mean, there were game mechanics that were broken. The combat was sluggish at best. It was okay for an early beta, but yeah, it wasn't very good.
No, actually, when I got in November, they had gone through a pretty good patch from August, and it was pretty. It was looking pretty okay. I mean, obviously, a lot of the quests still had a lot of bugs. And actually, those bugs lasted all the way up until the most recent patch, unfortunately. But
Yeah, some of the nastiest ones tend to last in most games like that. I don't know
Right.
why. If they know how to fix it, I don't know why they just don't fix it right off the bat. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of them were the even the main story quests. A lot of that kind of stuff too were kind of bugged and warped.
yeah. I'm actually just seeing Happy Hansel in chat here is telling me a tip is to run away from mud crabs. Is that a thing? Like, do I want to stay away from them?
They used to be okay to attack, and then when they upgraded the boss, the zone bosses, yes, you should run away.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. I will keep that in mind. So it was right around when the patch hit that the game started getting better.
October.
And
It was.
you said it was night and day.
Better then. The major difference happened about January.
Yes.
'Cause up until
What,
about
what
then,
exactly was it that changed the whole game?
they changed the whole game. I mean, it was smooth. It may have been optimization, but the game was smoother. The characters felt the skills were better. Your character actually felt powerful as opposed to getting rolled over by every mob you came across.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys have any personal like stories or whatever from the beta that really stuck out? Something that you probably either shouldn't have done and it worked, or something that just rolled over your face the first time? Like, did you guys get killed by mud crabs?
That was a funny story for me because I during the PTS when they had just implemented the new patch to make the world bosses stronger, the world boss zones marked by skull and crossbones. Prior to that, I'd went in there and I knew which one I'd gone to the same one before, and I'd just cleared it. I mean, just easy. Had my bow, was no problem. They changed it and they said, "Hey, big change for all the world bosses. Go check it out." So I was like, "All right, well, I'll go back to the same one that I knew." Man, they rolled me. I was like, "Oh, okay." So now they made it basically, if you would be you and a buddy, be like a heroic 2 or something. You need to have a friend of yours to go in there and knock it out. Otherwise, you could solo it before, but that's kind of a big change. So
Yeah, I can imagine something you're used to soloing, and then you just dive right in, and you're like, "What just happened?"
totally murdered my face. So, yeah.
Did you happen to run in a second time and be like, "I must have done something wrong," or did you just know?
Nope. I knew right away. I was like, "Oh, that's what they changed. I'm not gonna do that again."
Yeah. Wow, that
It
sounds.
was actually for the best because I mean, you could go in there and just solo a world boss. I mean, come on, really? You shouldn't be able to do that. So
Yeah, I don't.
it was a
blame.
good change.
Yeah, definitely seems like it. Swift, you got any similar kind of stories?
Yeah, I was actually I went into Fungal Grotto, the first dungeon for the Ebonheart Pact, and I was tanking in there, and I've played Rift and I've played Warcraft, where it's everybody tank runs in, gets aggro on everything, and then you melt face. And I ran in, tried to get aggro on everything, and got my face owned. Uh, that's when I realized that this was not WoW. This was not a WoW clone, and
Yep.
we're gonna have to adjust how we handle an MMO because it's not the same. You
Yeah.
run in and get packs of 5+, sometimes 10, and the tank can only hold 2 or 3 of them without getting crushed. The DPS has got to handle it. You got to dodge. You got to CC everywhere. There's going to be people hitting your healer. So it was a good change of pace.
Right. So I have not, like I've previously said, I have not had any experience with this game. But you're saying it's extremely different from WoW, or is it still comparable in some places? Like, obviously it's an MMO, so there's going to be a broad comparison on some level, but
it's completely different.
Night and day, in my opinion.
There's 4 classes, right? We have the Sorcerer, the Nightblade, the Templar, and the Dragon Knight.
Yes.
Is that enough classes to launch with? Like, I'm used to MMOs that launch with 7, 8 classes.
Well, all right. So those classes are suggestions. They are totally not. You're locked into, Sorcerer. You're thinking what? DPS. Nightblade. You're thinking what? Rogue, stealthy guy.
Yeah.
Templar. You're thinking healer. Dragon Knight. You're thinking tank. Totally not the case. It's if they had more classes, I think you would be just so overwhelmed, you wouldn't know what to do. Because what you're not realizing is every single class can use every single weapon, and each weapon comes with their own sets of skills. So now you've just multiplied your class build tenfold. So I think it's great. I mean, you can play a sorcerer tank, you can play a sorcerer healer, you can play
Sorcerer tank. That sounds super interesting.
yeah. Tell it can be done.
It's a really strong tank build.
Now, does the armor work the same way? Like, is the armor switchable between the different classes, or is it like cloth and mail? Is that a thing?
Any
Light,
class
medium,
can wear
heavy.
any armor.
So you could rock a mage in a full set of knight armor.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's interesting.
They did it just like Skyrim, if any or any of the Elder Scrolls games, if anybody's played those. You open up those. You can put your perks or your skill points or whatever you want to call them, depending on what game it is, into those trees, and you're going to build up that side. So
Right.
it's awesome, man.
And
One of the beta weekends, I messed around with a heavy armored dual wielding sorcerer, and it worked perfectly fine.
yeah, that sounds really interesting, actually. But you just mentioned Skyrim, which is what most people are familiar with. It seems Skyrim was the big hit game that everybody jumped in on. Obviously, there was Oblivion and Morrowind before that, but it seemed like Skyrim was the end-all, be-all game that you had to play. If you missed it, what rock were you living under? So where exactly in the timeline does this fall in, according to Skyrim?
This takes place 1,000 years prior to Skyrim. So there's no dragons, there's no dragonborn, there's nothing like that. So they've kind of tapped into a part of the lore that they can kind of have a little leeway with. So
See, I don't know how I feel about something like that, because look what happened with what was it?
I'll say Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars.
I knew you were going to say.
The old Republic. Like, you have Jedis running around all over the place. Like that. Well, actually, no. I
Right.
take that back.
That's-
It worked for that timeline. But take like what was it? Star Wars Galaxies, where they started, like, I guess that's a more known timeline or whatever. So I guess that's why it doesn't work. But you had Jedis running around in a time when Jedis weren't supposed to be there. And do you feel like that there could be because it's 1,000 years set in the past or whatever, that it's going to have limitations as far as content they can add, that's not going to completely modify the world and mess things up?
They did a really nice thing. It built into the Elder Scrolls lore long before. I mean, you're talking Arenas, Daggerfall, Morrowind Age. They had a period of time. Engage nerd mode here. They had a period of time called the Interregnum, and it was basically a period of just complete and total strife in the land. There was no emperor sitting on the throne. Records weren't being kept. Records were destroyed. Civil war everywhere. It was awful. So they took this period of time where there isn't any real written down history, and they were able to take it and use it for ESO, which pretty much opened up the doors for them. They can do whatever they want without really screwing with anything.
That seems pretty cool. Are there, like, recognizable landmarks that you would notice if you had played Skyrim, that you'd be like, I know this mountain from Skyrim?
Absolutely. When you zone into
Riften's in the game.
Ebonheart Pact, I believe. Don't quote me on that one.
Yep.
But the first zone you zone into, you turn around and there's Ash Mountain right behind you, and that's from Morrowind.
Are there landmarks that are in the way of places that you're like, that should not be there? Like a mountain range that doesn't exist, it's not there, or whatever,
Well,
that may be foreshadowing that it's going to get destroyed somewhere in the
I think
future
what you got to
expansions?
keep in mind is they didn't exactly take the identical landscape from each of the Elder Scrolls games. So it's kind of like gave you their interpretation of what the landscape should have been like during that time.
So they left leeway. So
Yeah,
that works.
absolutely.
If they would have taken, the actual Skyrim map and the actual Morrowind map, the world map would be enormous. It would actually probably be too big. Just because you would have all of that, and then you'd also need all of Cyrodiil, and then all of the continents that we haven't really seen in any of the other games. It would just be too big.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's go back to the classes a little bit, because started talking about them and then I got on a side tangent. But so you said the sorcerer could be like a battle mage and stuff like that. Like, what are the classes' particular strengths and weaknesses?
Strengths and weaknesses. I would say, for pure damage. I mean, the sorcerer has a really good, excellent tree for the lightning. But weaknesses. See, again, I really think you can open yourself up with each one of the classes. I mean, I guess I'm kind of biased in that way, having played it as long as I have. But
Well, let's say you take your mage and make him a tank. What kind of weakness would he have against a disadvantage would he have against like a Dragon Knight tank? Like what would be something that he'd have to worry about that the Dragon Knight wouldn't?
One problem with the sorcerer tank is where a lot of their defensive ability relies heavily on their class skills, which are dependent on magicka. If you're using, your weapon skills, those use stamina. So as a sorcerer, you kind of there's a very fine line of balancing your stats to have enough stamina to taunt, to block, to dodge, in addition to using your magicka, which is going to give you your survivability cooldowns, your shield walls, that kind of thing. So it's a little tighter than, say, a Dragon Knight, which I played a lot of Dragon Knight tanking during the betas, and it's not quite as bad.
Now, does each class have its own resource? I'm assuming, right? Does the sorcerer have a separate resource than, say, a Nightblade?
Every class uses everything is based off
Magicka?
of stamina or magicka. Your class abilities, regardless of what class you are, it uses magicka. So if you're in the sorcerer, your Daedric summoning uses magicka. The Dragon Knights, I can't even think of them. But basically, if it's dependent on your class, it uses magicka. And if it's dependent on your weapon, with the exception of the staves, your destruction staff and your restoration staff, those abilities use magicka. But your sword and board, your two-handers, your bows, all those use stamina.
Interesting.
So if you're clever with it, if you're clever with your class, you know that your class abilities are going to use magicka, and depending upon what weapon you use, you're going to use magicka or stamina. If you want to pull from both resources, then obviously you're going to be some kind of melee wielder or bow. Bow uses stamina as well. If you want to use staffs and you want to be really powerful, it'll work. Except when you start spending your attributes and when you start picking your passives, you need to start focusing on your magicka. And vice versa if you want to go the other way. If you wanted to go like, a badass Nightblade wielding a bow and then you can swap to dual wield daggers and just own, then you want to focus everything over into stamina. So it depends on how you want to set up your class, is how you're going to have to focus in on what attributes and what you want to build on. So
Absolutely.
So out of these four, we got the Sorcerer, the Nightblade, the Templar, and the Dragon Knight. Which one are you guys gonna play?
don't ask me.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but Swift, you have your entire character mapped out from level 1 to endgame, right?
Yes.
So you know exactly what you're gonna be. So what
Yes.
what is that?
I'm going to play a Dragon Knight tank. I'm going to start out with a little more DPS focus and tank focus. I mean, leveling up in any MMO is, regardless of whether it's ESO or WoW or what, you need that DPS to actually kill things out in the world. So going completely tanky isn't going to work too well, but yeah, definitely Dragon Knight tank.
You don't have to worry about playing solo too often. You're gonna be in the Game Breaker Nation guild. You're gonna have all these people sitting here in chat. We got 51 people watching right now, and every single one of them are gonna be in the guild, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So, Anguar.
I don't know, man.
What do you think?
We are literally like how many hours away?
We're 2.5 hours away. 2.5 hours away. What do you think is going to be at least the character that you launch with? Not necessarily your endgame character, but the first one. Which one are you most interested in?
I'm kind of leaning towards the Dragon Knight Fire Mage build.
Interesting.
I'm also kind of leaning towards the bow wielding Templar.
Both are very strong. Very strong.
So it may come down to a coin toss. I don't know, but
Ooh.
I think I've narrowed it down to those two.
Do we have a coin? Can
Oh,
we
God.
figure this out right now?
Hey, you know
I
what
think
I
the
got?
people want to know.
I
tell
think
you what
chat needs to decide.
Oh, chat
Come
should
on, chat.
totally decide.
Tell us what your officer council needs to
All
roll.
right, so the options are I'm thinking of a Dragon Knight, Fire Mage, Fire Staff build, or a Templar with a bow as a main, using obviously Dawn's Wrath as my main focus in this skill set.
Yeah.
See how much they know.
While chat room is answering that, we actually have a tweet we just got from Omikins. And if you guys watching would like to submit a question, you can do so by adding the hashtag GBNation to your tweet, and it'll show up right there at the bottom of the screen. And we will do our best to answer the question. So the question from Omikins is, how big do you think the role-playing community will be in ESO? What race class do you think will be the most popular for roleplay? So what do you guys think? How strong do you think the roleplay community is going to be? Start with that one first.
I think it'll be pretty good. There has been a little bit of hate towards ZeniMax because they aren't including chat bubbles, which the RP community in previous games has been rather adamant about. But just from what I've seen during the weekend betas, which is probably a better testament to the actual interest in the game as opposed to the PTS, because there are more people. There's been a fair number. I've seen groups out in the world just having their little RP sessions and doing their thing. So I think it'll take a little bit of time to develop, but it'll definitely be there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
Before we get to the second half of the question, it seems chat is very strong with Dragon Knight Fire.
Yep.
So
I think we have a winner, folks. I think that is definitely what I'll roll.
yeah, it's almost unanimous. Almost unanimous.
And it will probably be a Dunmer Dark Elf. Because I can bring it anywhere I want.
Interesting. So the second, what class race do you think is going to be the most popular roleplay combination?
Roleplay combination. Oh my goodness.
It's kind of sad and disturbing to say, but probably Khajiit. Everybody loves their furries.
Kitty cats, really? Yeah, you're probably right.
I got mine right here.
Uh-huh.
Although with Skyrim having been so recent, and that's been the hotness that's got everybody really geared up towards Elder Scrolls, the whole franchise. I probably High Elves, Nords, all the things that people were accustomed to in Skyrim.
Yeah, definitely. I think Nord will probably be very popular for that too as well.
We have Jeremy in chat asking, what race do you think is the best for a bow Templar?
Oh, well, my bow Templar I played was Nord. But because I was wearing heavy armor, and you get
So
instead of that. So
how many races do we have for launch?
there's 3 for each alliance. So
10.
Well, 10 counting the Imperial now. So 10 total.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So
And each race has its, if you will, strengths and weaknesses.
what's some examples of some of the racial abilities?
I know Dunmer gets a bonus to fire resist. They get a bonus to dual wield. Khajiits get a bonus to... Actually, they just changed their a little bit. They get bonuses to magicka and stuff like that. I know the Argonians get a bonus to like wielding restoration staffs.
And swim speed.
So yeah, okay.
That's a racial
You go
I
ahead
must
and
have.
swim in there and try and get away from me. I'm gonna draw my bow here. Don't move. Okay.
That would be like now rolling a undead character in WoW, right? and trying to do endgame rating and be like, I have the best racials because I can breathe underwater and
Yeah.
break fear that no bosses have mechanics for anymore.
Yep.
So, yes. Chat room seems to be loving the Argonians.
Yeah. Argonians are pretty cool.
They're gonna be really good for DPS, or no, I'm sorry, for healing.
Silidus in chat says many role players may play Ordainers or Ordinators.
Dark elves.
Dark
They
elves.
were the city guards in the capital city in Morrowind.
So they are a fan favorite, would you say?
Yes. They have really cool looking armor. If you get the dark elf armor.
Yeah. Looks like Donkari is asking, do you think we will have any last-minute changes to racial passives? Not within the next couple of hours.
Yeah, probably.
No, actually, they've already put 1.0 up on the PTS, and I kind of popped in there before, just take a sneak peek at it. So.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't see any massive changes. So.
Just minor bug fixes and various things like
lot.
that.
Well, all of the quests that were really bugged, all of the mainline story quests, and the big ones that a lot of people were complaining about, they finally snuck it in at the last minute and fixed them up. So that was good.
Interesting. So you said there's different alliances that you can choose, right? You guys want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah. You got 3 alliances to start out with. The Eldmary Dominion, the Daggerfall Covenant, which is the alliance that GBN will be taking under, at least in North America, and then the Evanhart Pact, which is going to be our EU guild.
Yep, that's your Skyrim area. If you're into, Morrowind and Skyrim is right there up in Evanhart Pact.
Excellent. And for the new viewers that have popped in, we are Gamebreaker Nation. You can find us on GamebreakerNation.com. You sign up. It's just big community, people that love gaming. It's cross game kind of platform for you guys. Yeah, we cover everything from World of Warcraft to Elder Scrolls Online, obviously. Dota 2, right? SOTOR.
Diablo.
Yeah, everybody's been playing Diablo. It's ridiculous. We have gotten to the point where we have to limit people coming in because we're approaching cap, and it's a lot of fun. But make sure to check us out there. We are affiliate with GameBurger.tv. If you haven't heard, check them out there for some of the best gaming and entertainment news you can find, and various podcasts for many of the games that we are covering as well.
Yeah, they could use your support. Help them out.
Yes. Hello, Forsaken 4 and Forsake 4N. Even though it's Forsaken. So you said that we were talking about this in pre-show because I was like, what server are you guys going to be on? There's no server, right? It's
Nope.
one big massive server for NA and one for EU.
Yep.
Correct.
So Gamebreaker will actually be having guilds in both NA and EU, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if the EU one is going to be available right away at launch, because Spirix isn't here to answer this question for us. He's he's here, but he's still sleeping. So he looks very cozy. Yes, exactly. But as soon as Spirix is around, you guys should be able to get in touch with somebody there. Gamebreaker does have their own Mumble service where you guys can come in, chat, and whatnot, hang out, stuff like that. So, Fern, I'm here hoping that a feral druid jumps Zista. Thank you, Fern. I'll be looking over my shoulder for a feral druid. Yeah, so feral, is there a feral druid equivalent in ESO here?
No shape-shifting.
No shape-shifting.
Not at all.
Yeah, we're kind of set in a more real world place, except with dragons. Well, I guess you said there's no dragonborns.
No dragons.
But there were dragons, right?
Yes, there were and there will be, but not in
Right.
ESO.
We're the in between.
Is that kind of disappointing to you guys that you're not going to be able to fight dragons?
Yeah, there's been too many dragons in RPG style games, and it's nice to not see dragons.
I don't think I've played a MMO that didn't have a dragon in it. I played EverQuest very briefly. Funny enough, the way I got into EverQuest is because I had a teacher in high school that was addicted to EverQuest. She'd play all the time. She'd even play in class when she was supposed to be teaching us. It was pretty bad. But her class was almost impossible to pass. So me being the genius I am, I decided to start researching EverQuest and started looking everything I could into it and started talking to her about it. And I became like her new best friend, and she would pull me out of like detentions and stuff to go play EverQuest, and it was amazing. But yeah, EverQuest had dragons, and we had I played Star Wars Galaxies that had Krat dragons, and SOTOR, which had dragon. I think they also had Krat dragons, something along those lines.
Oh yeah.
Warcraft, which has dragons, obviously. I think I'd be kind of disappointed to be playing a fantasy style game with no dragons. Do you think there's something they could do, like open up some kind of rift that they could travel into? Like, is that something?
Expansion pack?
That would be extremely lore breaking.
Would it?
Like extremely lore breaking.
Yeah.
Even with the whole interregnum thing, they have stated dragons existed at this point. They were asleep for this huge chunk of time, and then they came back. And that is an accepted rule that if they changed that, people would rage.
They can't have like some minor little whelpling wake up or something for you to dispatch, and it just got lost in the record somewhere.
Maybe, but
So what you're telling me is it's possible we may see a dragon before this game is done.
maybe. I mean, there is still one dragon awake. Parthenax is still there, but dragons were such a devastating thing in Tamriel that I don't see one slipping through that no one noticed and didn't write something down.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah, Anguar was violently shaking his head no. Like, you're willing to bet money on the fact that there would be no dragon? Are you that positive?
Hey, I'm not looking to like, play Train Simulator for 24 hours.
Whoa! You don't gotta. You. Really? Should I
Sorry.
Should I put on my conductor hat?
Sorry, man. I had to go there.
So just so this is not completely random for you guys, I lost a bet with somebody and had to do a 24-hour Train Simulator stream and had a really good friend send me a wonderful package of gifts. So it's been a running joke with the Game Breaker community, and this is why I love this community so much. It's such a friendly community that just won't stop talking about trains. So dragons on trains? Is that what you said we're gonna see? They invented trains, right?
Hey, Sarai asked a.
Yeah, I was just gonna get to that. We got a question right before Sarai's actually coming in from Erica. She wants to know, how long do you think the game will require a sub fee to play?
The question of the day.
I ain't touching that one.
Oh, Thomas the Tank Dragon Mod. Sorry for interrupting real quick. Thomas the Tank Dragon Mod. That is one of the funniest mods I've ever seen for Skyrim in my life. Thank you for pointing that out, Conceptual. Oh, that was amazing. All right, sorry. Continue. Sub fee.
Go ahead, Swift.
Oh, I ain't touching that one.
Sore subject?
Well, in the community, yeah. I mean, it's obviously been debated, talked about in length on the forums. Do I think it's going to go free to play? Possibly. When? I'll predict, depending on how people feel about the game, 6 months to 8 months.
And Swift?
I've predicted about 6 months.
So you guys think it's inevitable that it's going to go to free to play at some point?
I don't think. Well,
People don't want to pay a sub anymore. I mean,
it is kind of an old hat.
there are many games that have proven that you buy the box and you can get content that is just as good without having a sub.
Guild Wars 2.
Guild Wars 2, Rift, whenever it switched free to play, I mean, it was exceptional. I mean, they had no problems. They pushed out regular content. The thing that is really going to decide whether they go free to play or not and what kind of timeline is how quickly and how often they can push out significant content. I'm not saying a new skin here or a new weapon model there, but actual legitimate content. You know, how quickly we'll see adventure zones, how quickly we'll see trials, things like that.
Right. Forsaken mentions that they play sub in WoW, and yeah, that is the case, but WoW is so old school, it's set in their ways, people are used to that for a long time. But what do you guys think about people coming in that have never played an MMO before, that are just fans of Skyrim, that are looking to jump into the next ESO game?
They would be like ecstatic to see it go free to play because, well, I shouldn't say free to play, buy to play.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that's the way all of the Elder Scrolls games are. You buy the game, you play it, you own it forever.
You buy the expansion content here and there in little bursts, you know. So
I mean, that was kind of the argument too on the forums too. You'd have a lot of the really hardcore Elder Scrolls games players coming in and saying, "Sub fee? Why do I got to pay a sub fee? This is crazy."
Right. I do agree to an extent. This is a very heated debate that you can have here, but yeah, subscriptions are kind of the way of the past. But I personally, I looked at this game I'm not going to be playing immediately. I am interested in playing it, but it's not something I personally can afford to pay another subscription for right now. Yeah, they're reeling me in. This whole show, this was your guys' master ploy, was to reel me into playing another game, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
But it's definitely a game that I'd be interested in playing. If it goes free to play, it's definitely a game I will be playing. But at the same time, don't people look at free to play games like this? Buy to play even so, but you look at a buy to play MMO or a free to play MMO, and you're just like, oh, it's not as good quality as subscription based MMOs, or the community is what's a good word? Corrupt? Not really. Mm-hmm. Volatile. There we go. You have a volatile community. Like, can you see that happening if this goes buy to play? Do you think people are going to start complaining that it's a free game and it's not worth playing because it's free?
I mean, if you still have to drop the $60 for the box, I don't see it being as bad as a free-to-play game. If you can just go onto their website, download it, and roll with it, those are the communities that are just awful. But if you have to drop that 60, that's at least some kind of a money gate that would keep a lot of the trolls away.
Keep the kiddies away.
Yeah.
We got a question in chat from Homeless Bob. He wants us to explain how the trading will work since there won't be an auction house. No one seems to be able to answer this question.
Oh, that's okay. So there will be trading in the game. I mean, you can walk up to a character and trade with them. But if you're talking about selling your goods or wares, there's going to be guild stores in the game. So how that's going to work is once you have 50 people within your guild, you can open up a guild store. And since you can be in 5 different guilds, okay, when you go and open up to a guild store at any normal banker that we're used to seeing, one of the options will be guild store. At the bottom there, you can choose which guild store you want to look at that you're associated with. So it's like your guild is selling stuff to you, and that can also be used now we're talking Cyrodiil and PvP, once you claim a keep. At that keep, there will be a guild store NPC that will show up. If you claim the keep, your guild store will show up there, and anyone from the realm, anyone well, I shouldn't say realm, anyone from your alliance can come to that keep and purchase from your guild store. So that's kind of how you sell your stuff to the community as a whole. Get into that keep, claim the keep, hold the keep. Now your store is open to the public to sell. That's kind of how it works.
Interesting. Another question before I get to Sarai's question. This is something that all 76 of our viewers right now are going to want to know. They want to know info on how to join GB Nation Guild. So, do you guys want to go into what your process is going to be as officers to invite people?
First off, you need to register with the Gamebreaker Nation forums. So go to gamebreakernation.com and register there. Once you get into the forums, there is a drop-down menu at the top to give you the option to join a guild. That will give us a notification that you are interested, and we will then go into game and send you the invite.
64 people.
Yep.
We're starting out with 64 people as of right now.
It's a good number. It's a good number to
Very
start
good number.
with.
That's an automatic guild store.
So, I know we discussed this earlier, but we have more viewers in here now. And how long do you think it's going to be up and running before you guys start doing invites?
30 minutes an hour.
Yeah, once I create
Max.
my character and get in the game, then yeah, Swift and I will start going through our long list of people and inviting them. But
And be patient.
the catch is, yeah, you're gonna have to be patient, because the catch is you have to create a character in the game in order for us to invite you, because we're gonna send out the invite and then we're gonna get a kickback saying that account doesn't exist.
Right.
Until you have your character in game. So, but you don't have to be online in order to us to invite you. So you can take your time, create your character, play the game once you get in the game. If you can't get in till later in the day, that's fine. We'll be sending out invites, I'm sure, all week long during Head Start until we can get everybody within the guild. So fret not. Once you log in the game, I'm sure one day you'll have a notification that'll pop up and it'll be your guild invite. So.
Excellent. So you said how many people? 64?
64 I counted.
64. Now is that split between EU and NA, or that's 64 NA?
Only NA.
Okay,
NA
so
far.
Spirix, you want to let us know how many people are in the EU guild? Oh, never mind, he's still sleeping. Sorry guys, I don't know. Spirix is the only one that can answer that question. He's clearly taking a nap. He's clearly taking a nap. If somebody wants to poke him, you might be able to wake him up.
Comatose at this point.
He is so, he has not even budged this whole show. Is he still breathing? Somebody may want to check on him. He does look comfortable, though. He looks extremely comfortable.
I had actually spoken to Spirix yesterday, day before, and they're anticipating probably around 15 to 20 to start out. So that will give you access to the guild bank, so that's nice for them.
Right. They're asking how will people know which character name to invite, but it's done through account.
Yes.
Right. So
you are bound to the guild by your account, not your character. So that little @ and then your name, we'll use that to add you to the guild, and you can get those online or offline.
And every alt that you subsequently make will automatically be in the guild, because it's your account that's in the guild, not your character.
Excellent. So, the big question I actually was going to ask you guys was, everywhere I read it says the game isn't coming out till April 4th, right? So then I was like, why are we doing a show at 4 in the morning? We're starting the show at 4 in the morning. I'm like, so I started doing some research to be like, because I'm like, these guys would not tell me the wrong day, right? So we have, it's because based on which version you buy and how you buy it, will get you into the game faster. So
Correct.
This is the Imperial Edition, correct? So everybody who had the Imperial, is that what it's called, the Imperial?
I have the Imperial Edition.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So everybody that purchased the Imperial Edition will be able to log on and play in 2 hours.
Yep.
2 hours. We're getting close. We're getting really close here.
If you bought the standard edition from ZeniMax, specifically from ZeniMax or Bethesda, whoever you want to say, then you will also get 5 days. If
Yep.
you bought the standard version from a third party, then you get 3 days.
Excellent. If you guys have not pre-ordered currently, you can go to the link that I'm about to post in chat. You guys will probably see the link before just because of the delay, but check that link out right there. You can save 20% off on ESO. Use that link and get in tonight. Join the guild. Make it happen.
Look it up.
So April 4th, though, is the official launch day for everyone that
Correct.
did not pre-order.
Yes.
Right.
So you can go into the store. So what kind of goodies do you get in the Imperial Edition? You get the digital version, I'm assuming, right? Or do you have a physical
I got
copy?
the physical version, so I don't know what version did you get, Sway?
I got the digital Imperial. You get the Imperial horse, which mounts in the game are very expensive. So the Imperial horse you can buy right from the beginning for 1 gold. You also get the Rings of Mara, which is an in-game item that you can use 1 time. Not 1 per character, 1 time.
Are you
Keep
serious?
that in
I
mind.
didn't hear that.
Yes.
One
it-
time?
1 time. ZeniMax just released that the other day. Which you have 2 rings, and you find a friend, and you go to an altar of Mara, and you perform a ritual that binds you to that person, and you get an XP bonus every time you're grouped with that person if you have the rings equipped.
So choose wisely.
Yes, it is 1 time per your account, so definitely think about it.
So what you're saying is it's 1 ring to rule them all?
1 set of rings.
Wrong game.
And you also get every pre-order or pre-purchase gets access to. You can have any race in any alliance, which is kind of a big deal. And then the other bonus for the Imperial Edition is you get access to the Imperial race, which if you just have the Standard Edition, you do not have access to.
Will you ever be able to have access to it?
You can upgrade through the cash shop. I believe it's $20. I don't think they've actually announced a price yet. But you can upgrade to the Imperial Edition at any time.
And then upgrading will give all the other additional bonuses as well, right?
The only thing you won't get access to after the 4th is the ability to have any race in any alliance. That is a pre-purchase only.
Oh, wow. So if you guys have not pre-purchased, you have 2 hours left to do that. So you may want to get on that link right now so you can open your options so you have any race class combination that you want. Angwar, you said you have the physical box.
Yep.
Do you have it with you, or do you still have to go pick it up?
No, it'll be sent to me. I bought it through Amazon, so
Okay, so
they actually said I won't get it till a couple of days after launch. But that's okay.
So you will not be playing tonight when it launches?
No, I have they sent me the early access key.
Oh, you have an early access key. Oh, that's excellent.
So, and then that key will be, the question was asked on the forum. So, okay, what happens at launch day? My early access key end, and I got to wait for my retail box and enter that key? No, they're going to give us a grace period of a few days in order for you to get your physical retail box, and then you will enter that key into your account, and then you can continue on playing. So.
Right. So what kind of time frame do you have to enter this key? Because I know for some of the Diablo pre-bonuses that Blizzard just did, for stuff for Heroes of the Storm and card packs and Hearthstone and stuff like that, you had and I think it was an in-game item in Diablo as well, you had a limited time. You had to pre-order it, and if you pre-ordered it, you were fine. But for the physical copy, they gave you until the 31st to enter that code. So are they doing something similar for the Imperial Edition?
Right, similar. I think it's going to be a week. They didn't actually physically say. They just said we will give you some time after retail launch. But I would assume a week or 2. Got to count for snail mail shipping. But I've been in a game to where it got botched and held back, and and the game developer got a hold of their shippers and sellers and said, okay, we're going to give you guys an extension, give you another week. They're not just going to cut you off. They really don't do that. So
that's good. That's good.
It'll work out.
So does your pre-key count as you entering it in, or?
Yeah,
Do you
I
have
mean,
to
I can
wait?
still play an Imperial. I can still play any race and move them around wherever I want. The only thing I don't get until I enter the retail key, I believe, is the Rings of Maria. Um, I think I still have access to the mount. I hope.
You don't get the rings in your pet until
Pet.
release.
Yep, that's the other one.
Which, if you got the Imperial, you also get a mud crab.
Mud
Yeah.
crabs. I've heard to stay away from those.
Yes. Avoid mud crabs.
Don't want to be anywhere near them. So are mud crabs basically the murlocs of this game, but more deadly?
They're just everywhere in every single alliance. They're not. So yeah,
So yeah, they're basically murlocs.
basically Murlocs. They don't attack you that well. They're easy fodder.
They seem scary. I seem like it. I seem like it's something that I would die to. I'd probably die to them.
Yep.
Even if it's not possible to die, I'd find a way. That's how I work. I die to everything. So what do you get in the physical collector's edition?
I'll get a statue of Molag Bal. So that'll be pretty BA. Be about yay big. Get a cool book, some concept art. Get a cool map. The book's got some lore in it and all that kind of cool stuff. Physical stuff you can touch, you can smell, you can
That's
put
the
on your
best-
wall and make yourself look cool.
That's the
Stuff
best
to
kind of
clutter up
stuff.
your house.
Yeah, stuff.
Clutter up your house.
You don't even want to see the kind of stuff that I have sitting on the desk over here. I have my Diablo 3 collector's edition. I have all the Blizzard collector's editions. I have Avengers Marvel Cinematic Universe Tesseract case over here. Yeah, I got way too much stuff. Anytime I see collector's editions that have cool little physical items, I have to have them, and then I have nowhere to put them, and they're just everywhere. So
I'm staring at my SWOTOR collector's edition stuff. Yeah, that's got dust on it. All right.
So which one of the items from the physical are you most interested in? The statue, or yeah?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
You don't like the map? You're not gonna roll the map out instead of hitting the M button or whatever? Is it M? Is M map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
MS map.
That was a good guess, right?
Yeah, because it's not standard across all games.
I know, right? No, in our game, map is Alt T. What?
And
Why?
what game is that?
No, I'm just
Obviously.
just making it up off the top. That would be the most awkward map binding button ever. So you gotta kind of stay standard. So, I saw a question actually in chat that somebody was asking that I lost now. So you don't get XP if you're not in a party with that person.
You don't get bonus XP.
Okay.
Right.
So that's the ring from the Imperial Edition.
Right,
Yes.
the Mara rings. You get bonus XP on top of being grouped.
Yes. So we had what was it? Sarai was asking how many people do you think who have access to the Imperial will actually play it on launch day?
The Imperial isn't. Everybody thinks that you whenever they release the Imperial race behind the pay gate that it was going to be pay to win, but it's really
Tank.
not that big of a deal. I mean, it is a very good tank race,
Tank. Yep.
but there are others that are just as good. The Red Guards, their passives are comparable, if not better, in some ways to the Imperial. So it really depends on what you want your character to specialize in. Like Ingvar said, he's not going to be an Imperial because it's not a benefit to him. I will be because I'm playing a tank. So it really comes down to how you want your character to be as to what race you're going to pick.
Imperial Dragon Knight. Now, what are you going to wield? Sword and board?
Sword and board and two-hander.
Get the taunts. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's the thing with the way all of the classes having bonuses to, let's just use strength or health, magic, or stamina. Each class has something that might help it in that area. But you can offset that by the gear that you put on yourself. You can offset that by dumping skill points into passives for certain weapons. So what a race lacks, if you think it's lacking in some area, you can make up for it just by speccing in other areas. So there is no play to win race. I don't think there's no one all end all be all.
It's good to know that the Imperial is not going to be a super overpowered class that they're kind of pigeonholing you into buying.
There would have been some upset people if they'd done that.
Could only imagine. Only imagine. SVPRS in chat wants to know any idea how the servers work outside of the PvP servers and the US EU mega server. They want to know how they can get into the same PvE world as their friends. So is there PvP and PvE servers in this?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'll try and explain it the best way I can. The PvE server is one big giant mega server for North America. Everybody's on the PvE server. There's only one. When you are level 10 and you can go into PvP, into Cyrodiil, and it's not like you can just, it's not open world, you can't just walk into Cyrodiil. You have to pull up, the PvP window and select a campaign. Now there will be multiple campaigns. I think they announced the names, and I think there was almost 12 different campaigns.
10 or 12, something like that.
That you can pick from. Now, what you'll have to do is that character will have to make a certain campaign your home campaign. So every time you just normally log in, you only got to do that one time. Every time you log into your open your PvP panel and jump into Cyrodiil, you'll go right to that one campaign. Here's the trouble I see happening with that. If we are not coordinated enough within our own guild onto which campaign we go into, and people just jump into campaigns and make it their home campaign, you are locked into that campaign, and you will have to pay alliance points. And they did announce that they will lower the amount of alliance points at first for the first week or so. And alliance points is PvP currency that you will have to spend in order to switch home campaigns.
How difficult is it to get that currency?
Not. It really is not. I mean, in PTS to switch, well, we only had one campaign, but in the weekend beta campaigns, I was in the neighborhood of, 20,000 alliance points, which was kind of high, but they didn't want people jumping around either. So
once you do the introductory, this is how you PvP, because it's not run up to a bunch of people and hit them in the face. There's siege weapons and all kinds of things. Once you learn how to do all that, and there's a few little quests to do that, I was in there for maybe an hour on the most recent beta weekend, and I ended up with like 2,000 or 3,000 alliance points.
Okay,
So,
to clarify just sorry to interrupt, but to clarify for SVPRS is with the one big US mega server, for example, will you be in the starter/tutorial island with multiple hundreds of thousand people?
that would be a train wreck.
No. Ah, that's good.
See, I can play that game too. Yeah.
No, they're going to be. If you're familiar with phasing from World of Warcraft, some quests, once you complete it, you phase out, which may cause a little bit of problem if you want to group up with somebody who's already done the quest and you complete it. They may not be able to see each other, kinda.
But that's only in specific areas.
Only in specific areas. Right.
It's not a whole zone. It may be a few yards here and there, a couple dozen yards.
It's going to be a huge benefit for this game coming out at launch, because I can't even begin to tell you how bad. I don't know if you guys were there. I know you guys played Warcraft as well, but were you guys there for Burning Crusades launch? Were you guys playing then? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you know how bad Hellfire Peninsula was trying to I skipped it. I left and went to Zangarmarsh and leveled in there instead.
Right.
So
I'm not going to say
is
there's not going to
bad.
be a lot of people, because there is going to be a lot of people, but you will not see tens of thousands that you're thinking. So.
Right. There was a question about respecking characters. Is it possible for me to level a Nightblade, for instance, to level 50, be able to respec it later to a tank healer, damage gear provided? So it's pointless rolling of all of the same class. That comes from Tourniquet from chat.
You cannot respec your class, but you can respec all of your skill points that you spent. If you've spent some unknowingly, oh, I didn't want to go down that tree, I want to go down this tree.
Right.
But it's going to cost some gold. It's I'm trying to remember what they said.
It's
It was
100 gold per skill point.
Right. So you might be better off, like what I did, was I would level up to around the 20s. Around 20s, you're going to get a good feel about where you want to go with this guy or girl. It's cheaper to respec around that time. If you're going to wait till 50, and that'll happen, it's not going to be totally out of pocket, because by the time you're 50, you're making gold hand over fist. So you can do it. It's a money sink.
But as far as actually re-rolling a different character of the same class, I don't personally see any benefit to it. It seems like a waste of time, because you can do anything just by respecking your points.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that being said, sometimes you wouldn't even necessarily have to respend your points if you've spec'd your character out adequately while you're leveling. You could be able to switch from DPS to tank just off of switching out your gear and your weapons.
Absolutely.
Right.
The nice thing, what I was doing as a Sork, when I was playing my Sork, I would use it as DPS / healer. And the way I was swapping is through the weapon swap ability. You have the weapon swap ability because you only have 6 slots on your quick bar that you can use up for your skills and weapon skills. So once you, at 15, level 15, you get a swap ability, kind of like the way Guild Wars 2 worked. It's exactly like the way Guild Wars 2 worked. So once you swap weapons, now your quick bar has gone blank, and you can fill it up with all new sets of skills. So one quick bar was all my DPS stuff, and then I'd swap over to my resto staff, and all my stuff was healing. So I could swap and do healing on the fly. So
nice.
And you can do it in combat, so it's great.
So if I accidentally roll a battle mage and decide that I don't want to be a battle mage anymore, I can't respec. I have to re-roll a whole class.
No.
If you decide you roll a Nightblade and you don't want to be a Nightblade anymore, yes, you'd have to re-roll.
Okay, so I can still within that roll. So a Templar can go down either of the 3 trees and respec those. Right? There's 3 trees for each class.
Yes.
So I can bounce around those trees at
you
infinite
can get
times.
all your skill points that you've gotten, that you've spent everywhere.
So I'm not gonna ask this to Swift because that would just be ridiculous. But Engwar, what would be my reason to roll 2 different Nightblades?
I don't know.
That's not something. How many druids do you have in Warcraft?
Duh.
Do you see my question?
Yeah,
Why?
I totally see your point. You're going to have this type of druid, you're going to have that type of druid. But I don't...
I can understand for WoW because there's servers and different things. You probably don't have 4 druids on the same server. If you did, I'd probably have to question that.
No, I mean, you can have one class and you can set it up and spec to play 2 different entire roles.
Is there some kind of like hot swap feature available? Like if I was a tank and then decided that I wanted to be a healer, and then I needed to be a tank again.
Ability.
It's just the weapon swap.
Yep, that's it.
Excellent.
So you're a tank. You're wielding a sword and board, and you've got a full set of quick bar skills to all help your tank. Once you swap weapons to a resto staff, and you want to be a healer, now all your skills are going to be set up for healing.
No.
Your effectiveness is going to be dependent on how you've allocated your points and what type of armor you're wearing and your enchants and all that kind of stuff. But you can switch from a tank to a healer on the fly. You just may not be overly effective at both of them.
Right. Right. I mean, I think the better, stronger classes, like say, if you want somebody who wants to do totally focus in on healing, when they weapon swap, they're going to have 2 resto staffs. They're going to be wielding 2 resto staffs, and they're just going to swap their quick bar for situational healing is what they're going to be doing.
Right. So I don't know, like in the beginning of Warcraft, I can remember one of my favorite things to do was go partially down a talent tree and then go down another one and like have talent. I could spread them out all over the place if I wanted to. Uh, that's something you could do in ESO, right? You can just go down trees however you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what kind of crazy builds do you think people are going to come up with? Stuff that's outside the norm that will probably end up working really well.
Let's see. It's what 5 o'clock Eastern, so servers open up in little under 2 hours. I think we might have enough time to cover all of the different type of builds.
Maybe.
Maybe.
No, but like stuff that's
Plausible.
probably not even out there right now. Like,
And that's what's going to be great because you got all of these min-maxers that are probably been on ESO head for the past months, trying to just work those numbers and crank it all out and say, yep, that's going to be the best build, and someone is going to figure out something right and just blow that out of the way. I can't wait till that happens.
The very premise that someone came up with a Dragon Knight, which when you say the name, you think, heavy armor, dual wield, two-hand, or something along those lines, but there is a Dragon Knight sorcerer, not sorcerer, but a Dragon Knight spellcaster build that uses a destruction staff and all fire damage, and it is exceptionally good.
It's basically a warlock.
We have a question in from Leatherface on Twitter, and those of you joining us, once again, use the hashtag GBNation, so tweet us. We'll see those. They'll come up right there at the bottom of the screen. He wants to know what the benefit of using light armor over heavy armor is for different roles.
Your light armor has passives that you can spec into to boost up your magicka, regen, some spell resistance to it, and all of that. So it's really geared to building up the magicka side, whereas your heavy armor is passives are built for boosting up your health, making you more able to take a damage. And then your medium armor is all about passives for boosting up stamina.
So is there going to be like gear that you want to collect that may be better for a particular encounter? Like if you're doing a physical intensive encounter, you're going to want heavy armor, obviously. But then what if you come across like a extremely magic oriented enemy? You're going to want to load yourself up on like light armor?
I could see that a veteran rank 10 in the adventure zones and the trials maybe, but with how focused you, particularly as a DPS, you're gonna want, if you're a sorcerer playing, casting spells, you're gonna want your magic regen, which means you're gonna want light armor. And if you're a Nightblade with dual wielding Nightblade, you're gonna want your medium armor for your stamina regen and your crit and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, just looking from a tank perspective, there could potentially be some fights in the future where I would want more light armor for the spell resist, but
I would like to I want to tackle Forsaken's question there. It says light is for magic, mediums for DPS, and heavy is for tanking. I would disagree, because if I wanted to be a DPS focusing in on magicka but wear heavy armor, the reason I'm wearing heavy armor and using its health passives is to offset all of the amount of points that I've dumped into magicka. Really, because with the passives from my class and the passives from my weapons and whatnot, I can dump, and plus your attribute points, you also get attribute points as well. I could dump all of that into boosting up my magicka, and then wear heavy armor to boost up my health, or wear medium armor to boost up my stamina if I was using a melee weapon. I think personally the ideal way to wear armor in this game is going to be a combination.
yes,
Because in every weapon, in every armor tree that you're spending skill points in, the very bottom one gives you a really big bonus if you're wearing only 5 pieces of that armor. So you have to be wearing 5 pieces of the armor that you want to focus in on, and then just wear 2 pieces of something else that you can, like, say, if you're wearing all heavy armor, And get 5 pieces of heavy armor. Get 2 pieces of light armor, usually like the belt or the helm. The helm you can, hide if you want to. And then you're going to be able to spec some skill points into boosting up your magicka, which is going to help your class skills. So you got to look at it that way.
It is a generally accepted principle as a tank of any class to wear 5-piece heavy and 2-piece light so that you get your health regen and your healing from the heavy, and then the 2-piece light you'll get your spell resist and magicka regen.
Yeah.
It's really interesting swapping out different types of armor like that. Probably something I wouldn't have thought of on my own at first. It probably would have been something I realized like months into the game and been like, why was I dumb?
Right.
Question, I want to get to the Twitter questions, but I just saw a really good one that I don't want to lose in chat. Osiris Warp wants to know, are vampires and werewolves in at launch, or are they coming in later?
They are
in the game.
Confirmed.
Excellent. So can you become a vampire or a werewolf like in the other ones?
Yes, you can.
Is
They
it
each
a whole
have their
quest
own-
chain?
It's not a quest chain. That's what I love about it. It is not, I repeat, not a quest chain. You will discover it, stumble upon it by talking to a random NPC. I guess that may start you path onto it, but it is not easy to find.
Interesting.
We had people in
The-
PTS looking for it for months.
The other option is if you know someone that is a vampire or a werewolf that has developed that skill line, because they each have their own skill lines that you can put skill points into.
Yep.
If you know someone that is high enough in there, they can actually turn you. You go to a particular location, they use this ability, which is on a 24-hour cooldown, and then you become a vampire or a werewolf.
And no, you cannot use that to grief other people. I
Nope.
saw that question coming to my
It
mind.
is a voluntary. You have to follow them to a specific location and accept being turned.
Interesting. And what kind of benefits or negative effects would you get from being a vampire or werewolf? Is any of that revealed yet? How many of those did you guys see any running around in the beta?
I saw 2 vampires and 1 werewolf.
Oh wow, that's it. That's kind
There
of a small
are-
number.
There are some pretty big bonuses that you get. However, it comes with some really, really big drawbacks.
Yes.
For instance, the vampire is highly, highly susceptible to fire damage. You will murder its face with fire damage.
100% increased damage from fire.
100%.
That can they walk out in the sun?
Yes.
Do they
Yes, they can walk
sparkle?
Oh, no.
If they do, I'm done.
Rage quit.
I applaud you for that one. Werewolves? What can we see from them?
Werewolves are really good. What was their weakness? I know Silver Bullets from the Fighters Guild. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have
Trying to
look
find
at
it here.
forums.
'Cause I don't remember off the top of my head either.
Oh, are they only werewolves at night, or are they werewolves running around during
Nope.
the day?
Yeah,
It
they
is
can do
a toggled ability that you turn on and off.
Oh, so it's similar to the Worgen.
Yep.
Worgen? Is it?
Very
Are they
similar to
Worgens?
the-
Yeah.
Exactly like the Worgen. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing with that though is it in WoW when you're a Worgen, you're automatically in your beast form whenever you're in combat. That's not true with the werewolves.
Right.
It is actually a separate. You have a separate hotbar. You have separate skills. You can't use your weapons or your class skills. You're specifically locked down to werewolf abilities.
I'm highly susceptible to rabies.
Yes.
Disease.
Disease.
That's
Yes,
what
disease,
werewolves
that's what
are
it
highly
There you-
susceptible to any kind of disease damage.
There you go. So, yeah. That's in...
Yep.
Now, you can't be a hybrid, right?
Nope.
There's no hybrids. Vampires, werewolves,
One
they kill
or
each
the
other,
other.
right? Are they feuding in this game, or they work side by side, or how exactly does that rivalry
They're
work?
just another fold in the fabric.
Interesting. All right, so let me get to some Twitter questions. We had Omikins wanted to know if anybody... Oops, how do I get back? she wanted to know if anyone wanted to marry her in ESO. She promises she's not a crazy person.
By
So
stating.
you, I personally know Omikins, and I can 100% verify she is in fact.
A crazy person.
I actually won't verify that. I will have to face repercussions later if I say the wrong thing. So you can marry in this game.
Well, yeah, that's what the rings.
That's the Rings of Mara.
That's the marriage, if you will.
Yep.
You're marrying against another player to increase your XP bonus.
Yeah, Mara is the basically the god of love in Elder Scrolls.
They want to know if she can cook.
There you go.
I have never had any of her cooking, so I couldn't tell you. That doesn't mean she doesn't cook. That just means I don't know. I'll keep myself safe on that one. So you said you get the ring? You get rings through the Imperial Edition, right?
Yes.
Is there any other way to get rings?
Nope, not currently.
Do we have jewel crafters or any kind of class like that? There's professions. We haven't talked about professions
you can
at all.
You can make rings, like just standard stat rings like you'd have in any other MMO, but you cannot at this point get Rings of Mara from any other way than the Imperial Edition.
Gotcha. We still got quite a bit to talk about. We got an hour and a half, and we still got quite a lot to talk about. They want to know what our plans are for the start of the leveling, going back to the starter island and leveling, or skip it and skip the starter island in general. So you guys are going to go back to it.
You would be foolish if you didn't.
Yep. And the main reason go back, Sky Shards.
Sky Shards. We will get into that discussion very, very soon. I want to get to the rest of these Twitter questions. For each of the classes, is there going to be a benefit? Oh, we talked about that one. Do you think ESO's trade system will work? No auction house, etc. We kind of touched on this briefly, but we didn't go into the personal opinions. What do you guys feel?
I think it's fantastic. Too many games have had an auction house where you run to one central location, there's 500 people standing there staring at an NPC, and you get what you want and you run off.
Yeah, it kind of takes the immersion out of it. Like, you're just standing there. It seems to me like this is kind of like... did you guys play Star Wars Galaxies?
Yes.
Okay.
Years.
So Swift did not, but you said... you remember how you used to have like a vendor that you could place in your house, and people would travel around from house to house and explore and see what kind of goods...
Yep.
It's something along those lines? Similar?
It is something along those lines, yes. But your vendor is a guild vendor, and it is posted up in a keep that you have claimed inside Cyrodiil for PvP. So here's where I think this promotes a very neat spin on it. They're trying to get people into PvP a little bit, and get people to really take ownership of those keeps. So I kind of like that aspect on it. But, the downside is I know there's a lot of people that really don't like PvPing. They're all about the PvE. Therefore, you are allowed to join 5 different guilds, and when you access the guild store on the PvE end of it, any kind of banker that's in any city, then you can access any of your 5 guild stores.
Interesting.
And there are already guilds popping up where, this is a trader guild, join this guild with 300 other people to have access to a guild store. And that is their sole purpose. They're not raiding guilds, they're not PvP guilds, they're there so that you can access a guild store.
Yep.
Interesting.
And they haven't implemented, unfortunately, the alliance system yet. But I know that there was talk on the forums about hopefully including alliances in on this on guild store access.
So with 5 guilds that you could join, one of them better be the Game Breaker Nation. We want to see you guys there. This is our website right here. You go right here to apply. You got the steps right here. Step 1, register a form account. Step 2, apply. It's that simple.
Justin made it very easy proof.
It is.
Nice job, Justin.
It is. It's extremely easy. So we want to see all 100 of you, 105 of you in chat.
Nice. Yeah.
We want to see you all in the guild,
It's a
playing
good turnout.
along.
Thank you.
We have 64 people already. Already.
64.
That number has gone up. I've gotten several people already that have applied for the guild since we started.
Excellent.
goodness.
I think
4 more people.
4 more
Right.
people.
68.
Yeah, we're moving. We're the Jeffersons. We're moving on up. Half the people watching that don't even get this reference.
Oh, do you
We're
barely
old.
get that respite?
I watched it. I don't know.
In what syndication year?
Nick at Night. I don't look it. I'm 30. So I'm not that young.
I have on Gannett who just applied for both NA and EU, and I'd like to remind everyone you can play on both NA and EU. So if you have some friends over there on the EU side, you can obviously make a new character, but you can with your account play on both mega servers.
Or if you want to help out the EU side to get their guild store.
Yep.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yep. And a reminder, NA we're going to be Daggerfall Covenant. The EU have decided to go Ebonheart Pact, so if that's your flavor, please make a character over there and help them out.
Yes, please do. It's very easy. It's free. There's no charge whatsoever. Just go there, sign up. It's a great community. We are cross-platform, or not cross-platform. I mean, I guess we're cross-platform. There's people already applying for what is it?
For Xbox.
The Xbox version. Yeah.
People are saying they're going to play on PS4 too. So.
Yeah. So
there's currently no supported guild for that yet.
Right, but it's stuff we're talking about, and if there's enough interest, we're willing to do almost anything. So, you can see that there. We play so many other games, and it's not just limited to MMOs. We play games like Diablo. We have people for League of Legends and Hearthstone, and I'm sure there will be a room full of people playing Goat Simulator 2014. Like it's gonna happen at some point, and I'm probably gonna be the one playing it. That's just how this works. People like to torture me. So
send your donations now.
The Xbox and the PlayStation versions are not available anytime soon, right?
June
coming.
30th.
So
30th.
we have confirmation. Spirix has in fact woken up. This is a thing. So you guys are gonna have to bear with me. These frames are gonna be so messed up. These guys are just gonna talk about the console versions while I get Spirix on the line and refix all of these boxes. So
yeah. June 30th. That's when the console versions will be available. And I've heard that they probably will even have a little beta prior to that, just to see how it all works out.
Yes. So. And they are on their own mega servers. Xbox is on an Xbox mega server. PlayStation is on its own, just like EU and NA are split. So while you can be a part of the Game Breaker community, and if we do get guilds up and running, that will be an option. But the official PC version of the Game Breaker guilds will not be accessible on the consoles.
Yeah.
good morning, Spirix.
morning.
You sound muted.
Yeah, I was. I'm sorry for being late.
It's quite all right. We know that the time zone it's so early in the morning for you.
The time zones even. Because I was out drinking last night.
You had to celebrate. You had to celebrate. ESO was coming out.
All right.
So I got home 2 hours before I was supposed to get up.
Excellent. Yeah. I don't know if you could tell on the stream.
About the game coming out, he had to go.
Do you see what we did for you on the stream down here? Can you see on my share screen?
I'm sleeping.
Yeah, that's you. You're canoodling with Chris Farley, right?
John Candy.
John Candy.
I got a tweet that I was sleeping with Steve Martin to go.
Excellent.
I don't know who that is, but cool.
Yeah.
So while this is manipulating your face there, why don't you tell us a little about the EU side of things?
It's me serving as the sort of head, and then there will be GTO Fire, who will serve as another officer. And yeah, we will be running things. It looks like at launch we will be about 20 people, and we hope to grow from there.
That's good.
Excellent, excellent.
And you guys are going to be Evan Hart, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So we were talking slightly about the console versions. They're launching when, you said? Sorry, I was distracted when you guys were talking.
June 30th.
So they're a few months out still.
Yes.
Yeah, they're quite a few months out.
Why the big holdup?
Well, PC is going to be the big moneymaker at first. I'm pretty sure they knew that. And there might be some bugs they need to work out and figure out how to actually play this game with a handheld console. So, figure that out.
Yes.
Kitty tail. Spirk's got a kitty tail.
Yes, kitty.
Yeah, we got a cat.
Excellent.
Mine's running around here somewhere.
He has a Khajiit. Oh, he has a Khajiit.
I'm almost done fixing the frames. Almost. I just gotta fix Swift. So, was there another Twitter question? I think there was.
Yeah, actually, Joseph asks, well, he says, I'm not in favor, what? Oh, do you think we'll see player houses, tents, hostels, or any other sandbox elements added? I do think we will. When? I have no clue. But it is something that everybody, at least on the PTS forums, was begging for. Because I think it's going to come out maybe as an expansion or something. I mean, if you look at Skyrim, they have Hearthfires, and Hearthfires was a housing expansion. So I think it's just everybody associates, having your own home in Skyrim and being able to do what you want with it. So yeah, I absolutely do think there will be housing eventually.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw guild houses too.
That would
especially
be
once they put since they have the limits on guild banks and guild stores. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe you have to have 100 people in your guild to get a guild hall or guild house or whatever you want to call it. I would not be surprised at all to see that.
I think it'd be cool.
Individual player housing, I don't know. With the scope of how large MMOs can get, don't hate. I know it's possible. I know games have done it before, but they've never really done it well. It's always been everybody runs up to the same building or the same area, and you enter your space. But I don't know. It could be a thing that they do. It all depends on what their vision is and how they go about implementing it.
Yes.
There are large expanses of the map that are not accessible, so they may put it in there.
Excellent, excellent. I think we're caught up on Twitter.
No, Leatherface is asking, with the most recent beta weekend and the bugs with the quests, which bugs are you most concerned about?
Ooh.
That's a really good question.
You just said you've been on PTR. You've seen what is it? 1 point? Yeah.
1.0.
1.0. So what fixes are in there from which one of the fixes there that they have already fixed that are coming that you're most excited for?
You would put me on the spot
there. I would. Well, I don't think Swift has been on. Have you been on the PTR Swift? The latest build? Yeah. So
I'm not lucky.
You're the only one I could ask, right? Spirix was at the bar. He doesn't know what's going on. He's still sleeping over there for all I know.
I'm trying to figure out how far you've gotten.
Quite a ways actually.
We will be going into PvE discussion very shortly. But we've been fielding a lot of questions. We've had a lot of great questions coming in, so we
keep them coming.
Yeah, definitely keep
All right,
them coming.
so
We've gone off
I
this
fa-
script a little.
I found it on the interwebs. So the patch notes for 1.0. First thing it says is it fixed many issues that were impeding quest progress. Of course, that could be a standard statement to use anytime. They've added all of the orchestral music. They've added all of the voiceovers. There's no more robots voices in the game. And they've implemented the final cinematic that you will see at the beginning of the game. Well, that'd be cool to see what that is. Let's see, major things that I'm gonna peruse through this real quick and just see if there's anything that stands out to me that I'm glad they fixed. Let's see.
You guys worried about while you're looking up that, you guys worried about launch breaking? Like that's been a trend with various games. We've had issues in almost every major WoW release, except for Miss Pandaria. Actually, I will throw that out there. Every other one has almost crashed or has crashed. We had the original Diablo 3 launch. We just recently had Final Fantasy XIV. We've had major problems on launch day. Do you foresee the same thing happening for ESO, or do you think they may have everything together?
It's not out of the question. I mean, there's always going to be bugs that could pop up during a launch. Just servers getting slammed. But where they're doing the staggered early access, if you don't have the Imperial Edition or you didn't order directly from ZeniMax, you're not going to get in today. You may get in 3 days of early access or on launch day. So it'll stagger people out a little bit. I don't think it'll be a ton because the people that are going to play have probably already bought the game anyways. So I don't think it'll be too bad.
Well, I mean, they've taken precautions for a mass influx of people. So they've set up some overflow servers. And the way that's going to work is if when you log into the mega server and they see, there's going to be a queue, they're going to ask you, I believe, if you would like to go into an overflow server or wait in queue. If you go into the overflow server, what it'll do is you will not have access to PvP. You will not have access to high-end stuff, high-end content. And so what they're going to do is you can still do questing and you can still progress your character and you can still, level up. And when you decide to log out, it'll basically save all that information and you'll be transferred over to the mega server. So, but you can't switch while you're in the overflow server. You can't switch to the normal server. You can actually have to log out and then re-log back into the mega
Actually,
server.
No.
That?
Yes, when you queue into the overflow, and you also can't party with anyone on the actual server either. That's another limitation. But when you queue for the overflow, you're actually put into a login queue for the actual server, and you will get a pop-up on your screen that says, space is available. Do you want to switch to the server?
Oh, okay.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. You stand corrected.
Yes.
Yeah, it was something they added this past weekend with their unannounced 12-hour beta.
Oh, the AMA? Was that one?
No, they actually had a beta on Saturday that they didn't announce. It was just open.
That's
and
right.
If you knew about it and you logged in, then they were testing their overflow servers out.
Yeah, I think one of the good things that they did is the staggered release, the Imperial, the pre-order, and then finally April 5th, which will be the hard launch.
4th.
Or 4th, yeah, sorry. If there's going to be any problems, I foresee them on the 4th. I don't see them in the other two launches. So
I don't think Head Start is going to have any much troubles, but on the 4th, yes, there might be some broken servers.
Right. So yeah, you guys at least have a few days to enjoy the game. I don't know, Spirix, do you foresee the EU having same launch issues that NA has seen in the past?
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure how popular the game will be EU compared to US, but I suppose it'll be the same. But yeah, standard service going down and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So did
I
you at
don't
least have a
think it will
good?
be very different. The thing is, we start at the with our overflow, no, our service in America, even though we pick EU, but who's laughing?
It sounds like a train is driving through your house.
Okay, sorry.
And you would know all about trains.
I would. Spirix, did you at least have a good time out at the bar? Did you enjoy yourself?
Yes.
I did.
Are
Very
you-
good song.
Are you still drunk right now?
Be honest.
Am I allowed to answer honestly?
Yeah, of course.
We want you to, yes.
Well, then yes.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your favorite color of the alphabet?
3.
Good answer. All right, so let's finally get into some PvE discussion. This is something I was asking you guys there. There were delves and there's group dungeons. What are the big differences between those?
The delves are public dungeons. They're either geared towards 1 or 2 people going in, or they're geared towards an open group. So you may come along a dungeon where you zone in, and you might find 10, 15, 50 other people running through there at the same time. Not likely, but possible. With the actual group dungeons, those are your typical instance. Your party of 4 zones in, and is your copy of that place.
So I guess the best comparison that I can offer to that would be that group dungeons are just like the regular dungeons that you would get to know and do in World of Warcraft, and the delves are more like the old 5-man group quests that you would do, or events that you would do outdoors in WoW, so to speak. Not necessarily the fact that you need a quest to do it, but I guess that's the best thing I could compare it to, or would that
necessarily,
be more like a world
need
boss outdoors?
Yeah, you don't even need 5 people in most cases. A lot of them you can solo if you really roll face
Yeah.
pretty good.
So they're more like rare spawns or stuff, something like that, or are they static located? Like this one will always be in this spot, and you can get to
Yes.
it whenever you want, or is it only a certain time?
Whenever you want.
Interesting. So there are normal and veteran dungeons for the group dungeons. Normal, I'm assuming you can go in with just a pug, but the veterans, you're gonna want to know the 5 people in your group. Is it 5-man group?
4.
4-man group. So you're gonna want to know the 4 people in your group well, and you're gonna kind of have a good idea of how to play the game and not just face roll the keyboard.
Yes, absolutely.
Are they comparable to heroics in World of Warcraft, or are they harder or less challenging than heroics?
I've not played the Pandaria heroics, but from what I've heard from people on the PTS that do have veteran rank 5 and 10, if you don't block an enemy attack, you die. If you don't dodge out of an AoE, you die. So my guess would be significantly harder than what people are accustomed to in WoW. But I'm not on the PTS, nor have I played recent WoW heroics, so it's kind of hard for me to judge.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never got as high as any of the veteran ranks. So.
Right. Did you guys happen to catch any streams or YouTube videos or anything of anybody at those ranks?
I've seen a few. The guys at Tamriel Foundry, For Strategy Gaming, that they were running some, but they've been on the PTS for so long that veteran rank content is second nature to them. So it's kind of hard to differentiate between them doing the mechanics correctly versus them just being experienced at it.
Right.
But there have been several people that have stated, once you hit those veteran rank content, that if you don't play the game as it's intended, with the active blocking and the active dodging, you're gonna get raped.
Yeah.
Interesting.
By the way, question while we're on the topic of dungeons. I know in WoW you can make everyone leave and then reset the dungeons and go again. How does it work in Elder Scrolls? Can you reset dungeons, or does it reset from itself? How does that work? Do you need to disband your group and then band up again?
I haven't actually seen a button or an option where you can, like in WoW, where you have that reset button. All the times that I've run them, that I've reset them, I actually disbanded a group and redid it. There was a weird little bug with when you zone out of a dungeon, your party lead sets to no one, so you can't actually re-queue or anything like that. So I haven't seen it. I imagine it will be in there somewhere.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, they gotta have some form of resetting, because dungeons are things people love farming for that one specific item or whatever. How's gear work for these dungeons? Is it a kind of like a roll system? Is it independent loot?
Everybody.
Everybody gets a random chance to get something. If you have played the beta at all, and your quests, you just kill stuff, and even if someone else is killing that monster, you try to kill it as well, and you get loot. Same thing with boss. Completely random.
Stealing. They're not taking away your XP. If you tag a mob and then someone else comes around and hits it, it's not going to be yours only. Both of you guys are going to get some loot off of it, and both of you guys are going to get some XP off of it. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, same system. I'm not quite sure if the bosses have several things they can drop. I only saw one thing drop of the same boss several times in the Grotto dungeon.
So it's too early to tell if bosses have specific loot tables or whatnot, or...
or how specific they will be.
Right.
But for all my party members who got the item, each round we got the same item with the same stats and everything.
Interesting. So how does the single player experience differ from the multiplayer experience?
Well, you don't see other people.
Well, you do, but they're just random.
Right. What are you talking about? The
Like open world, I'm guessing.
Questing?
Yeah, just regular PV. I see you guys have in the notes here that you wanted to touch on the single player experience and the multiplayer experience, so I was just curious what the difference between these two were, if it was the same game but with friends, or because Elder Scrolls in the past has typically been a single player game. Like you're not used to pairing up with people, so this is going to be kind of a different concept for most players that may not branch out into a whole lot of games in this particular kind of genre. Can you play through the whole campaign, I guess? Do you want to call it campaign? It's not like I don't know. Can you play through the whole game single player if you wanted to?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the exception of the group dungeons, you don't ever actually have to party with anyone if you don't want to.
Oh, wow.
You can do the entire main story quest. You could even do Cyrodiil PvP completely on your own if you want to. It's not advised, but you can.
Yeah, you can just join up with the masses and be at the gank fest.
Just Zerg right along with them.
So the multiplayer aspect of this is just how do you flag yourself, or when you log in you say that you want to
think
check off
maybe
single
that's
player,
referring
multiplayer?
to soloing the game versus grouping. That's probably what that probably should mean.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of confused at that. So
Yeah, because it confuses me as well. But
you can, I believe, play the game like a standard Elder Scrolls game, and but there will be a few others running around. You won't have as much impact, I suppose, such as becoming an archmage and whatnot. But you can play it like a good Elder Scrolls single-player game.
So can you log in though if you want to as single player? Like and never like obviously it's still going to be a
You
multiplayer.
have to be connected to the
thing.
server and everything.
It's an
You
MMO.
will see other people.
But like you said, there was that the overflow server, so to speak.
Right.
Can you opt to just go into that instead of going
No.
into the main server?
No, that is only if the mega server is full. Are you put into the overflow?
And about
And
how
even
many
then,
people
you're going to
is
see people on the overflow that are there with you. It's not going to be just you.
oh so the overflow is not individual, but you can't group with anybody there, so that's kind of
You can't group with people on
the overflow.
I don't think I ever actually mentioned that. You can't group with people that are on the actual official mega server.
From the overflow, right?
Yes.
But the people on the overflow can group with each other, or do
I'm
we
sure
know
they
that?
I would imagine. I haven't seen anything about that, but I would be surprised if they didn't let you.
Right. And how does the questing system work here? Is it all breadcrumb? Are there exploratory quests you could find along the way? Or
Yes, and yes.
excellent, all the way around.
Yeah.
There are actually quests that are unmarked. They don't have the quest indicator above the NPC's head. You only get them if you find random unmarked NPC wandering down the road.
I stumbled upon a quest. I was in one of the cities, I forget which it was, listening to the banter of the NPCs. They were not quest givers in any way. They were just talking to each other. And they mentioned a place and that something had happened at that place. And I was like, oh, I know where that place is. So I went to that place. There was a damn quest there. Just saying.
So explore.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm assuming there's nothing like Wowhead for ESO quite yet, or is
There is ESO
Yeah.
Head.
ESO Head, really?
ESO Head.
Yeah,
Sam is out and about.
That sounds like something I don't want to catch.
But yeah,
Is it by the cursed
played around
community?
with ESO Head skill calculator because it's structured and all that. So I recommend trying that if you want to test out what kind of build you want to do.
So does ESO Head have like a list of these hidden quests somewhere, or is this something that
Probably.
we?
I haven't looked. Not going to look.
I admire that. It's a brand new game, and you don't want to know everything going into it.
Surprise me. That's
Yes, I like that. So I see we have Dark Anchors / Fishers. What exactly are these?
Well, the main storyline that you are here is Molag Bal's trying to come back and take over Tamriel. So, and there's the way for him to come to Tamriel from whichever realm he's at, I believe, is he sends down these dark anchors, and it's his way of trying to take over Tamriel. The best way I like to describe dark anchors is kind of like if you've played Rift. They're kind of like rifts in the game, but in Rift, those rifts were random, where in Dark Anchors are pretty much set in stone. And you can come across a Dark Anchor altar and there's going to be a Dark Anchor spawn here, or it's already spawned. But your Dark Fishers are the one that spawn randomly, and they're much smaller scale. So your Dark Anchors are going to require a group encounter. You can't solo it. Your Dark Fishers, you can solo it if you're really good.
Excellent. Just got word from chat room. Tatiana has said the forum servers are starting to come online, so that is something that you guys can totally check out. And if you have not already, we have just about an hour until launch. So if you have not already, you can go on our website here, Gamebreaker Nation, and you can go up to the top left corner here and apply and join the Elder Scrolls Online Guild, both NA and EU. NA and US. Wow. It's as simple as clicking apply. Step 1, register a forum account. Step 2, apply to the nation. Step 3, marry Omicans. I heard she may cook. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, that's the rumor going around. Definitely check that out. We got many other games that we play: Diablo, Hearthstone, League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, brand new Blizzard MOBA coming out, which is surprisingly addictive. I had the great opportunity of playing that at BlizzCon. And speaking of BlizzCon, that is the first of many conventions and stuff that we plan to do in-person meetups with members of the GB Nation. Last year, the last November, we went and we had a great time at BlizzCon. We went to the Game Breaker party, lots of drinking, fun, awesome times.
So you're saying I would like it then?
You would love it. You would love it, and then you would have the fun of going to Denny's with me afterwards. After we drank in so much that we need to put food into our system to keep ourselves hydrated and stuff. And yeah, we went to Denny's, and it was interesting. I ended up serving people. I took menus out, and I was sitting people down at their seats. I was like, all right, you guys sit here, sit here. I was eating food off people's plates. People I didn't even know. So yeah, it was good times. So definitely, Gamebreaker is an awesome community. If you guys haven't heard of Gamebreaker itself, go to Gamebreaker, Gamebreaker.tv, and there's so much news for various games. There's always discounts on upcoming games that you could pre-order. Right now, you can get a 20% off for Elder Scrolls Online, and a 15% off of Diablo 3 if you go to gamebreaker.tv/deals. Check it out. Definitely good times. There's always, anytime I go into Mumble, our Mumble server, I go in at 4 in the morning and there's like 60 people in there. So go in there. Sign up. It's a lot of fun.
$19.
Do it up, yeah. So,
Check it out.
yeah. Yeah, Dude a While thing in chat was there. Denny's, amazing. He loved it. He loved every second of it. So...
What? Are you reading chat now?
Yes, I was reading chat.
Is live.
Yes.
Isn't that an hour early?
It's 1 hour early.
Game is live. Stop chatting. What?
They're saying the game is up?
I'm gonna.
I'm going to...
We need confirmation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna confirm this.
We need confirmation. Sarai says she's getting into the intro story right now.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, we didn't even get to talk about our upcoming, we barely got to talk about PvP and crafting. We didn't even get into, and our predictions for the next 6 months or so. What kind of expansion content you guys plan to see? But for those of you that are still curious about joining Gamebreaker Nation, we do events and stuff. At first with Elder Scrolls Online, probably won't be any wildcard events. It's going to be basic things like dungeons and PvP nights and Cyrodiil, Skyshard hunts and stuff like that. So look for more practical stuff, and then as the game goes on, you kind of expect...
yeah, can verify the game is live.
Excellent. You guys could expect some out-of-the-box kind of events, tag and hide and seek, and some weird kind of stuff that doesn't sound interesting, but actually is. So I guess we will wrap this show up early, right?
Yeah.
And will one of you guys be streaming?
Yeah, I'll get. Take me a little bit to get it up and running, but I'll do a little bit of streaming.
Okay, so if you guys want to stick around and stay right here, those of you that will not be playing tonight, curious what the game looks like, Engwar will be back very briefly. I'd say, 20 minutes, half hour at most?
About that.
He'll be up, he'll be streaming the game for your enjoyment. You guys get an hour early. How excited are you?
Yes, totally.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for watching.
Yes, thank you.
There will be many other pre-show launch parties that we cover. So make sure to subscribe to us here, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the Gamebreaker Nation Twitch channel, or Gamebreaker Twitch channel. I think it's Gamebreaker. Is it Gamebreaker
GB
Nation
Nation.
or GB? No, we're in GB Nation.
We're in GB Nation.
But the Gamebreaker channel, is it just Gamebreaker TV? I think it is
Yeah,
for Twitch.
Gamebreaker TV.
Yeah, so just sign up on Gamebreaker TV. Once again, make sure to check out our website, which you can find right here, GamebreakerNation.com. Sign up, get into the fun. And Engwar, do you have a Twitter handle or something that the people can follow you at?
I do. You can follow me at Engwar4EVR.
Swift, where can the people find you?
You can follow me on Twitch at Swift Plays with a 1 instead of an I.
Spirix, do you have a Twitter handle?
Yeah, at Spirix.
At Spirix, that is spelled Spirrix. And he is totally not sleeping right now. He's wide awake. He doesn't look like this anymore, guys. He's wide awake. You can follow me at Zista with an underscore at the end. That is XIZTA with an underscore. Somebody took the real Zista. I don't know how you would. Who else wants to be me? I don't even know. I don't know. Once again, thank you guys for watching.
Play some Elder
hopefully-
Scrolls Online.
Yeah, hopefully we will be seeing
Somebody
you guys in
stole
game.
my name.
And hit me up, EU people. I'm at Spirix in ESO as well.
And excellent.